Hey, welcome into the Stinkin Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside Mike Evans. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like it, do all those things. Send us a question or two. We will answer that, or at least I will answer that. You probably don't answer it. No, I'll answer it. I'll answer it. So anyhow, send us a question. Mike, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, we leave the football stuff to you. I just ask the thought-provoking question.
You do such a tremendous job.
Like, for example, I'll give you one. Joe Burrow has been practicing.
Right.
And the most recent update is that Joe might be ready to return as early as this week. I'll lump Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels into this in the same breath. If you're the Bengals, if you're the Commanders, how much are you weighing the idea of getting your franchise quarterbacks back versus the realization that our seasons really aren't going anywhere?
Yeah, I think this is really interesting because there's a fine line kind of what you're working on here. For Joe Burrow, like as an organization, if I'm thinking about Joe Burrow, I think Joe Burrow is top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Maybe number 1 when healthy. He is that good at orchestrating an offense, of being in charge of an offense, of knowing exactly where to go with the football. But you know, the Cincinnati Bengals have made the mistake of they think that building your football team is all about weapons. And it truly is about diversity. It's about building an offensive line, building a team from the inside out, and protecting your all-star quarterback. Like Joe Burrow has so much. He's taken his team to the Super Bowl, albeit a loss against the LA Rams. So Joe Burrow is different to me because he has proven over a large sample size, that he's an elite quarterback in the National Football League. Whereas Jaden Daniels has proven to me that he's an elite talent in the National Football League. And there's a difference. So for me, I think it's much more important for Jaden Daniels in year 2 to have the opportunity to continue to get reps than I think it is for Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow is interesting as an organization. If you're the Bengals, and maybe the Bengals don't make any changes, but if I'm in charge of the organization, I'm looking at the way we call plays, the offense that we run, the lack of complementary football, the lack of being under center, the lack of a run game, the lack of being able to protect our quarterback, and I'm saying to myself, something's got to change. The way we operate as an organization has got to change. Think about this. The Cincinnati Bengals won I believe it might have been a divisional playoff game against Tennessee, the Titans, when Mike Vrabel coached the Titans. They won a game where they gave up 9 sacks. 9. In 1991, as a member of the Hogs with the Washington Redskins, we gave up 9 sacks in 19 games on a way to a world championship. 9 sacks, and the Bengals still won that football game. Now, Joe Burrow has been sacked, an ungodly amount of times. I think he tore his ACL his rookie year. Then he had the wrist injury a couple of years ago. Then he's had this injury that he's dealing with right now. At some point, aren't you going to make a decision to say we've got to protect our quarterback? And then as far as Jaden is concerned, I think building your culture is more important than protecting your young quarterback is obviously important. But what I'm saying is I want my young quarterback to get as many reps as possible, and I want to impress upon our organization, if I'm Dan Quinn, how important winning and building the culture is. And so I just think it's more important for Jaden Daniels to play down the stretch than it is for Joe Burrow.
Maybe I've been covering the NBA for too long, but to me this is like a no-brainer because you got to be able to just recognize where your season is going and understand that it's over, and then you start to run the risk and reward and factor in the idea that, you know what, is losing some games, improving your draft position, is that the worst thing? I get what you're saying about building a culture, but to me, I think the benefit of, one, protecting your quarterback from any future hits and injuries, and two, improving your draft position and bring in maybe a better player, I think that goes just as far in terms of improving and changing a franchise's fortunes than, coming out and playing a few meaningless games at the end of the season.
See, but to me, they're never meaningless games. They all have a purpose. And so I think you don't mean to, but you're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
How so?
Because improving your draft position, when I think about the draft, I think about a 50-50 crapshoot. So I may move up 2 or 3 picks, but does that ensure me that I'm going to get a top-notch, top-level player? Is that guy going to be able to produce in the National Football League? I just think that playing, dealing with tough times, finding out solutions to those tough times, playing the game and getting those reps is far more important than getting 2 or 3 picks, earlier in the draft. And again, I go by 50% of the guys that get drafted in the first round are busts. So why am I going to sacrifice the culture? Like, I think one of the things about the NFL that's interesting, and I think very few teams really understand this. I think very few teams understand it's not just about guys, it's about the right guys. And I think so many teams struggle with letting the wrong guy go because that wrong guy has so much freaking talent. And you think you're going to fix that guy. You think all of a sudden, because you've got him under your tutelage, that all of a sudden you're going to be able to fix a turd, right? You're going to be able to polish the turd and make that guy an unselfish, grateful, guy that really is team first, a guy that will sacrifice for the team over himself. You think you're going to change that guy's inner core, and you're not. Those guys, the truth comes out eventually. Like, if everything's going well, if everything is picture perfect and it lines up for them, then they'll play through it. But to me, eventually something's going to happen where you're not, things aren't ideal. And you know what? Then the selfishness of that particular guy will come to the forefront. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you care more about the people you work with than you care about yourself. Those are the guys that you have to have on your roster, and that's why so many teams fail, because they can't get over the talent that this turd has, and ultimately you cannot win with turds on your team. You just can't.
When we talk about culture, and it's so hard to define, I'll tell you who continues to impress me. They must have one hell of a culture. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Because I don't know if I've ever seen a team in any sport have as much drama surrounding their team that they seem to be able to overcome. Whether it's A.J. Brown, or here's the latest. According to an athletic report, some Eagles players reportedly have grown frustrated by Jalen Hurts' approach this season, specifically when it comes to his hesitancy to throw the ball into tight windows against some coverage. And apparently some players are frustrated that Hurts is playing his game instead of taking what's discussed during the week and transitioning it to game day. This isn't the first time.
Yeah.
There's been some rumblings about Jalen Hurts and how people respond to him on that team. So what do you make of the latest?
Doesn't surprise me. I've heard all kinds of things, and again, this is not a rumor or innuendo show. But I think I've heard all kinds of things. You've heard things. I mean, I run in certain circles where you hear complaints about the quarterback. I think the biggest thing that you have to look at with Jalen Hurts is, and I think this happens with all quarterbacks, right? You especially guys that are athletically gifted. With, to me, when you're super athletically gifted, you always kind of default from the neck down, when I want my quarterback to default from the neck up. So you work on, when things break down, you always are trying to, use your gift, because it's something you've had since you were born, right? And so I think that's part of the growth process. And I think the other thing is, when the Eagles have been really good, and they were tremendous last year, But when they've been really good, there's been a style with which they played, and that's run the football, and that's use the quarterback as an athlete, use the quarterback in the run game, and then eventually, you know what you get? When you do that, you get 8-man fronts on a consistent basis. What do 8-man fronts mean outside? I'm going to quiz you. If I get 8-man fronts, what does it mean?
Ooh.
Yes, please.
I got this one.
Yeah.
I got this one. Single coverage.
You're going to get some man-to-man situations. You're going to get single high.
I was going to say single high safety, too.
Single high safety. When you get that 8th man, single high safety means you can play one of two coverages. You can play cover 1 or cover 3. Cover 3 being a zone, but zones, like the way cover 3 is played, is anything vertical is a match. So you're still getting one-on-one on the outside if you go vertical. And so to get those kind of vertical matches or those access throws to the outside, it makes it really simplifies things for your quarterback. That's when the Eagles play their best. Yeah. Now, if your quarterback goes, hey, man, I want to be a drop back guy. I don't want to run anymore, and maybe he doesn't have that skill set, but that's what he says he wants to do, and you're trying to work that. And if the owner is involved in saying, yeah, we're going to make this happen because we want to keep our quarterback healthy and we want to, like, and I get all that aspect of it. But guess what? If that's not what you do well, then your passing game is going to struggle. And we've seen their passing game struggle. We've also seen their run game struggle because he doesn't do as much of it. So it's one of those situations where when he becomes a viable runner, what that does when he's pulling the ball, what that does to the backside of a defense. So if I'm handing it to Saquon, but I've got the ability to keep it and hit the edge, now all of a sudden the defensive end doesn't squeeze. The outside linebacker doesn't squeeze. The safety on that side doesn't squeeze. Why? Because they're holding in case he keeps it. So they're a tick late. If you're a tick late against Saquon Barkley, boom, to the house. And so I think that's part of the problem with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, the numbers certainly back up your point there, Stink. The Eagles ranked 25th in total yards, 28th in passing, 29th in third down conversion rate, and their rushing game, which was second in the NFL last year, 17th this year. So the numbers back up maybe what the eye test. And when you see those numbers and hear about those numbers, you can understand why maybe there'll be some chippiness about the quarterback.
I get every quarterback wants to evolve, right? Every quarterback wants to, hey, man, I can be in charge and I can be like, you know, the greats that played this game, that run the game at the line of scrimmage, like the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys, and I can be that guy. But you know what? You're not. And there's nothing wrong with that. You won a Super Bowl not being that guy. And you had great passing, but it comes with the threat of you guys running the football, you guys having quarterback run game, designed run game, the RPO aspect of it. And when you get that, and when you have that, you're going to get a lot of one-on-one access throws to the outside. It's just the way the game works. And so you can pretty much break the huddle knowing, man, I've got a gimme on the outside, right? I've got a free access throw. That corner's playing off. I run hitches all day. Omaha, hitch it up, and I just got 7 yards. And so those are the things. And if the quarterback doesn't want to do it because he wants to prove, like I think one of the greatest things you can have is an awareness of who you are and what you're good at. Like as a player, I always thought, man, I know what I'm really good at. More importantly, I know what I'm shitty at, right? And I'm gonna work hard to avoid those situations where I put myself in harm's way. And you have to be able to be honest with yourself when it comes to, you know, your own personal evaluation of what you can and what you are and what you are not.
So the Eagles, I mean, we're still talking about an 8-2 football team, you know, the defending world champs. I guess when the standard and the bar is set so incredibly high, I mean, let's face it, it's almost impossible to satisfy that standard. But interesting game this week as they get to head down to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. And what's fascinating here is that, boy, what an opportunity for Dallas here coming up over the next, 6 days, because you got Philly at home, and then you turn right around on Thanksgiving Day and play Kansas City at home. You're sitting there at 4-5-1. If you could find a way to get 2 monster wins, you change your season dramatically. You could be 2 wins over the 2 teams in the Super Bowl last year, and you could be 6-5-1 going into a mini bye. Whew, So what an opportunity for the Cowboys to literally change their entire season in the span of what, 5 days?
It is a great opportunity. And offensively, I just think that they've got continuity back. I think the last 2 weekends or last 2 weeks, they've had their offensive line back intact. Javonte Williams is got to be in the running for comeback player of the year. And, obviously it'll go to a quarterback like Daniel Jones because, that's the only thing we can focus on as a football community is quarterbacks.
Now, leave your personal biases out.
Right, and sniffing the jocks of those guys. Oh, man, what is this? Oh, ball sack. Smells delicious. We can't help ourselves, right? I mean, it's just it's unbelievable the amount of ass kissing we do.
It's the most important position in all of sports.
You guys ever watch a left guard play? Anyhow, I digress. I think I'm a big Dak Prescott fan. I think this offense has a chance to be just super dynamic. I'm a big fan of Brian Schottenheimer. I love the way he calls games. And they have bolstered the interior of their defensive line. And Quentin Williams is a beast. They're getting guys back healthy on the back end. Like, they give up so many 20-plus yard plays. Like, I really think the Cowboys, this is 2 tough games. But even if you come out of this with a split, gosh, if you win both these games, you're right. You're right back in the thick of things in the NFC.
What about the Chiefs? A buddy of ours, he appears on our radio show every week, James Palmer, who's one of the most locked-in guys, been covering the NFL for a long time, been around the Chiefs for a long time because of all the big games the Chiefs have played. He said the locker room here in Denver after that loss to the Broncos last Sunday was as quiet and as down, a funeral-type atmosphere around that team that he has felt in any game, maybe save for a Super Bowl loss.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much they really poured into that Bronco game last week as, hey, this is the game that's going to really kickstart and signal the turnaround for us. And the fact that they lost it the way they did, they come back home now. They're home, but they play a Colts team that's confident, that's coming off their bye week, that would probably love to make a statement of their own by beating the Chiefs. How do you gauge where the Chiefs' collective mindset is right now heading into this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a situation where they're playing not for the AFC West anymore. They're playing for their playoff lives. And so I'm like, I understand why they had that kind of atmosphere in their locker room, because they were sitting there at what, 5-4 with the hopes of still winning their 8th AFC West crown in a row. They were coming off a bye week where Andy Reid is 21-4. And they felt like this is going to be the game against this great Broncos defense that is kind of like the catalytic event that launches us back to our 8th AFC West crown. And this is where it starts. 2 games against Broncos, 1 later on in the season. We win this one, and bam, we're chasing down the Chargers, we're chasing down the Broncos, and you got to look at it now as like, that's a pipe dream. That's over. You're not winning the AFC West. So now it's just about fighting to get into the wild card spot. And man, like that's got to be a real downer for you as an organization, because this is territory you're not, like, most of the guys on your roster have never seen, like, have never been aware, or have never done anything but win the AFC West. Most of the guys on your roster, when was there ever a guy on that roster that hasn't won the AFC West? When you think about,
maybe Kelsey.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Yeah,
when the Broncos were winning the AFC West, but beyond that, like, seriously, every guy on this, 7 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's got to be a real
I think it's
downer.
actually 9.
What's?
I think it's 9. 9 straight division titles.
9 straight division titles? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's
It started
7
right after the Broncos won the Super Bowl in 2015.
It's 7 AFC
West. Championship
AFC championship games, 7 AFC West or 7 AFC championship games, 9 AFC West crowns.
Yeah. It's a bunch of streaks that really annoy the whole NFL world, and that they're relishing the idea that it's ending.
It's been what a like, in all seriousness, what an unbelievable run.
Right.
What an unbelievable run.
Absolutely.
Kudos to you guys in Kansas City, to your fan base in Kansas City. What a run. We are so glad it's come to an end.
Okay, I was wondering. This is not the Mark Schlereth I'm used to hearing.
Yeah.
But it is an accomplishment. But I do wonder, when you think about all these streaks and you think about all the high pressure, intense, always with a bullseye on your back football that you've been playing for almost a decade, at some point, is the tank just empty? And I just wonder, coming off a loss like that last week, if there's enough left in the tank to rally around the idea of, hey, it's not a division title anymore. It's not fighting for best record and home field. Now we're trying to scramble in as a wild card. I just wonder if they got enough in reserve to muster up.
I mean, I believe they have enough in reserve. And the one thing about them is they have been so good throughout the playoffs, and they've played their best football in critical moments, in critical situations, that even though this season, sitting at 5-5 right now, has not been what they anticipated or dreamed of, they still look at themselves and say, hey, man, if we get into the dance, we're dangerous. And they've got the quarterback, they've got the pedigree, they've got the coach, both offensively and defensively, to do that. So they are a team that still would be scary to have to play come playoff time.
I'll put it this way. If you're a Bronco, Colt, Patriot fan, and you're already talking and dreaming about hosting a playoff game or two, would you really right now say, yeah, give me the Chiefs?
Right.
Sign me up for the Chiefs. That's who I want in round 1 or round 2 of the playoffs. You really want that?
I think if you put in,
be honest with yourself.
If you put in the playoffs and you said, hey, man, like, we're the Broncos or we're the Patriots or we're the Colts, and then you started listing teams like the Bills or the Ravens potentially, or Pittsburgh, or whoever else could be, Jacksonville, Houston, and potential playoff teams, the team you would like to face the least might just be the Chiefs.
I think they still are. You got to give them that respect.
Yeah, you do.
Until the dragon is slayed, man.
Right.
You got to give them that kind of respect. You mentioned the Steelers. I think this is a fascinating game. I mean, first of all, Steelers, Bears, right? I mean, it doesn't get any more old school than that, but you got two teams squaring off this weekend that are absolutely right there in the playoff mix, but I think we're all kind of like, are they frauds? Are they real? Are they frauds? Are they pretenders? Are they contenders? What category would you put the Steelers and the Bears in?
I think I'd put the Steelers in pretenders. I think they're going to get chased down by Baltimore and they don't make the playoffs.
Don't make the playoffs?
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I've got the Steelers at. I think the Bears are interesting. So I went back and watched last weekend's game. Sometimes I come in here on a Monday and I've watched not the entirety of the games, but a lot of the highlights and stuff. And so I went back and watched Caleb Williams with just great interest. And, there's still a lot of inconsistency. But I see it, man. Like, I see him throw the ball in the middle of the football field, just letting it eat, just letting it rip, all the in-cutting routes. Now, outside the numbers, he lacks a little bit of timing and a little bit of accuracy outside the numbers. But when it comes to in-cutting routes, whether it's shallow crosses, whether it's running dagger concepts, digs, the basics, all the stuff that goes from the outside in, dude, I thought he was pretty exceptional. And then his ability to extend plays. He has been I think, more in rhythm than I thought he was, which is I think is a really good thing. And I think Ben Johnson does a great job of building exactly what he wants. And it's not always pretty. I think he completed 50% of his passes last week. But like I said, outside the numbers on the sideline and stuff, there have been some inconsistencies with throws and accuracy. But I love the stuff inside the numbers. And he's throwing more on time, at least last week, than I really recognized early in the season. So I just see some improvement, even though it was 50%, and he's taken far less sacks. So he is getting the ball out quicker, and he is manipulating the pocket when he has to. I think the Bears are interesting to me because I think they're defensively, I think they're really solid.
Well, to your point about the Steelers, you got the Bears this week, 2 more games with the Ravens, 1 with the Bills, and 1 with the Lions.
Yeah, they're done.
They're
done.
You think they're done?
And then Aaron Rodgers has the wrist injury.
Yeah, probably. The expectation is he'll play this week,
Right.
but still,
Right.
Something he has to deal with.
His alleged wife can maybe work on that wrist.
Is
that real or is that?
I don't know.
Is it like your alleged wife?
Listen,
We have an ongoing bit on the radio station about you not really having, it's just an alleged wife.
She doesn't really want to come out in public with me.
Right. Which really
is probably more on me than.
Right. Really it bothers her that we say that.
Yeah, because she
does not like that. She is real.
So I got to get her out in public.
But when nobody can find Aaron's wife,
proof of life.
Right. We need something, don't we?
Well, we got bigger problems, you and I.
We do?
Our picks this year.
Oh my God.
Do you want to bring everybody up to speed, or should I?
Let me I got it right here.
I apologize. I don't apologize, because if you've just been going opposite of what we pick, you're gonna have a great holiday.
We both went over 3 last week. So you are sitting right now at 14 and 19. Wait, I went 0-3 also, so I am at 13 and 20.
Wow.
I say we just can this and start over.
Like, just take this as most NFL teams look at the first quarter of the season as like an extension of training camp.
Right.
We just take the first half of the season as an extension.
I always say
now we figured it out.
That Thanksgiving is when you really,
is where it really starts.
Like right now, we're like the Cowboys.
It's right.
We're like the Cowboys. We got a tough stretch coming up, but if we put it all together, you never know.
I'd like to think we're more like the Chiefs.
Okay.
Everyone's counting us out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to.
Old pride kicks in and we go on a late season surge.
I like that. You get to pick first this week. I'm just looking at the potential change of one game. But go ahead. You go first.
All right. I am going to start by taking your team. I think the Detroit Lions, after a really tough showing in the wind and the cold in Philly, they get back to their home sweet dome, home sweet dome, and I think they put it on the Giants.
Okay.
I'll take Detroit minus the 10.5 over the G-men. I think San Francisco getting the Brock Purdy return bump.
Yeah.
That looks like a team that's got some fresh steam, to power
got
them
new
through.
life.
New life. Carolina, great win for Carolina last week. But
Dude, did you see Bryce Young have a out-of-body performance? Out-of-body, like
450 or something passing?
Well, you what
Where did that come from, right?
Yeah, I called the game the week before, and the New Orleans Saints gave him one-on-one coverage the whole time and said, we dare you to throw it. He couldn't. And then all of a sudden, Atlanta just decides Atlanta's got to be one of the most, mercurial. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Great word. I'm going to take San Francisco minus the 7 against Carolina.
Okay.
And I'm not saying the Chiefs can't answer the bell, but Indy's coming in there feeling really good about themselves.
Off a bye week.
I think it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to take Indy plus the 3.5 against the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
All right, you know what? It's time.
Oh, are you going to do what I think you're
I
going to do?
am crossing out all my picks right now. Every one of them has been
You're going
crossed out.
Oppo.
And I'm going Oppo Taco.
Oh, you do this once a year. Usually with
Oppo
success,
Taco.
which is scary.
So I've got I've got
You're
the
take
Giants.
the Giants plus 10.5.
I got the Giants plus 10. I got Arizona
Carolina?
or Carolina, I mean, by getting the 7, and I've got KC getting
minus
minus
3.5.
Oh, I got KC minus. So yeah, I'm not afraid.
Wow.
You suck so bad. You suck so bad.
Honestly, that
I'm going Oppo Taco on your ass.
That's not a bad strategy.
And if this works, I'm going to go Oppo Taco until it doesn't work anymore.
Then you'd pick first next week. So,
And then I'll change it. I'll pick first. I'll let you pick, and then I'll go Oppo. I'll change it.
Change it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can do that.
Sneaky.
I own the show.
You're sneaky. Look at you.
Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinkin Truth podcast, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. For Mike, I am Mark. Thank you. And we'll be back with you guys wrapping up, week 12? Are we in week 12? Is that what this is?
Week 12.
Flying Unbelievable. Man, season's rolling to a close. It's crazy. Anyhow, thank you guys. We'll be with you guys next week.